I was in your guys' shoes, not too long ago. I think my orientation was January of 2011. I went through law school somewhat quickly. And I just wanted to share with you my experience here at Trinity and what I think led to my success. And I think it's something that everybody can use to succeed themselves, because what I did was very simple. It was just plain and simple hard work. So before I get going, so first of all, welcome to Trinity, and congratulations on making this difficult decision, choosing to come to law school. And I know I am somewhat biased, being that I'm a practicing attorney now, but I truly believe that years from now you'll look back on this decision and say that this was the best decision of your life. Being a practicing attorney, albeit short for me thus far, very rewarding. You get to help people when they're in the depths of their lives. Very, very rewarding. Contrary to what some other young attorneys and older attorneys say, it's definitely a very rewarding profession. It's as rewarding as you want it to be. So again, my name is Katnik, and Trinity asked me to speak here today. I think it was because I was one of their favorite students. But maybe I was a good role model. But again, like Professor Lay said, I graduated from Trinity in May 2013. The last graduating class, and I just passed the California bar exam on my first attempt. Definitely a huge accomplishment. It's something that I know everybody strives to do, but feels good, and I think it's something that's proper to boast about. Let's see. So today I'd like to share with you again my approach to tackling law school, and pardon the eventual pun, you'll get it eventually. Bar prep, and then also ultimately the California bar exam. In order for me to do those things, I want you guys to understand my history, so then you're able to assimilate and appreciate where I'm coming from and where this advice comes from. I grew up less than 4 miles from here, and I was raised by a lawyer and a math teacher. But what I saw when I looked at my dad, who is the lawyer, was a football player. My dad played football at the University of Arizona and then had what he calls a cup of tea in the NFL with the Detroit Lions. Because of that, I never wanted to do anything else. I wanted to play football. That was my dream, that was my goal, and my number one focus. School, and more specifically academics, was always on the back burner. And so after a successful high school career, again in football, not in academics, I was awarded a scholarship to play football at the University of Southern California. From there, I finished as a first-team All-Pac-10 offensive lineman, and then went on to play in the NFL, just like my dad. I played in the NFL for 4.5 years for the 49ers, Jets, Vikings, and Broncos. And all my dreams were coming true. My hard work was being rewarded, but then all of a sudden, no one wanted me anymore. There wasn't a team that was willing to keep me on the roster, and so I had to figure things out. My dreams were essentially ripped away from me, and I was lost. All I ever knew was football. That's all I ever loved, and I had to figure something else out. So I wanted to give working in the real world a shot, because I was somewhat arrogant, and so I didn't want to just follow in my dad's footsteps, because I wanted to show him that I could be successful by myself. I didn't need to do what he did. I didn't need to, follow in his footsteps. So I went into sales. So I tried sales for a little while, and I knew it wasn't doing. I wasn't meant to be a salesperson. I think I was a little too honest, maybe a little too blunt. When people didn't make the right decision, and the right decision was buying from me, I wasn't usually very nice to them. So I knew it wasn't for me, and so I made the difficult decision, and my wife made it with me, to go to law school, because it was a big decision, and hard for me because I was never good in school. School was never my thing. I was always more focused on other things, and primarily football. So when I decided to come to law school, so I sat right here in these very chairs a few years ago, and I listened to all my classmates introduce themselves, and what they had done academically and what they had planned to do with their law school degrees was impressive. It was. And so I was terrified for that reason. I was never an academic. I was an athlete. I was what most people would call a meathead. I thought I was smart, but most people would call me a meathead. I wasn't an academic. And so each time as I stood up in orientation and in individual classes to introduce myself, I knew my academic past was inferior to each and every classmate of mine. I graduated from college with a degree in economics, but as I jokingly said in each of those introductions, that my major was actually football. Football is what I focused on. So I had a successful football career, and what I needed to do in law school was figure out how and why I was successful, and then translate those skills into being successful here at Trinity. And so what you'll quickly find out is that law school is a search to discover who you are and what makes you successful. Because I'm sure each and every one of you, to be where you are today, you've been successful at something. So what you need to find is those things that you were successful in, why were you successful? And those reasons, you need to translate them into making you successful here as a law student. And so I don't get ahead of myself. So what I realized is that I was really good at working hard. And what does that mean? So to me, working hard meant putting in more time, and specifically more efficient time. This day and age with social media and texting and all this other nonsense, it's hard to be efficient. It's hard to be productive. You could be here for 10 hours a day, but have an hour of productive time, and you've wasted 9 hours. You've wasted a large part of your time. So sometimes it's good. It's okay. Check out from social media when you're here. There's many years beyond graduation for you to be as involved with Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and whatever else. I've actually lobbied, well, maybe I haven't actually lobbied. I wish Facebook, the domain name should be not allowed on Trinity's wireless, because it's a distraction, not only for the person who's looking at Facebook, but as you sit in these seats, you're looking at someone's Facebook in front of you, and you're distracted. You know, I think everybody can be diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, and so even for me, who, you know, as an older guy, you know, like I see someone else's Facebook, that's pretty cool. Like, you know, I want to get into it too. But you know, so check out and be productive with your time here. So in football, like in law school, I may not have had other attributes that made others successful, but I did have the ability to work hard. So from the beginning of law school, I decided that I had a 100% chance of passing the bar. From day one, I had a 100% chance. That's what my mentality was. But every time I took a shortcut, I took a day off, I borrowed someone else's outline, I used a case brief from online, or I used someone else's notes. Every time that happened, it decreased my chance of passing the bar. And I couldn't afford it. I had 2 kids at the time, I had 3 kids, I had a baby on the way when I was taking the bar. I couldn't afford to delay my life 6 months. So every time a shortcut was taken was a decrease in your percentage chance of passing the bar. There's no study behind this. This is my idea. Okay, so maybe I should trademark it or something, I don't know. But so I treated law school just like football. It was a competition. My competition was to beat expletives out of every one of my classmates. That's what my job was. My job for 2.5 years was to beat everybody senseless. And I couldn't do it physically like I used to, but I could do it mentally. And I did that by working harder than everybody. And I did it by working more efficiently than everybody. So with that, I put my nose to the grindstone. With that mentality, I put my nose to the grindstone, and I didn't stop. I rarely came up for air. And that's what it took for me to be successful in all facets of my law school career, and eventually on my first attempt at the bar exam. But equally as important to working hard in law school, what I found, it was important for you to have balance. It's hard, and as much as I speak about working hard and never stopping and not coming up for air, it's important to have balance. And by balance, I mean recharging your batteries. It's important for you to be productive, and it's hard to be productive if you don't have that good balance. Balance is to charge your batteries, and I charge my batteries by playing with my kids. I had a natural break when I went home that I would play with my kids, and I didn't think about school. But if you, and this happened to a lot of my classmates, if you never stop thinking about law school, you can't come back the next day and work as hard as you want to. I don't believe. So you need to find a distraction. And I don't mean a distraction taking 30 hours a week, but a distraction that takes you away every night or every weekend or whatever it may be, to give you the ability to come back that next Monday or that next day to work as hard as you need to work to be successful here. So my simple advice in the very end, and I'll stay as long as they let me to answer questions if you guys would like, but my simple advice is this: your law school experience will be different than each one of your classmates. So each one of you guys, 20, 30 of you, will have a different experience, different than mine. But find what works for you. Embrace that decision of how you're going to approach each class, each final, each semester, and then ultimately the bar exam. And remember, law school really is a journey to discover who you are. This journey will be difficult. It will be. It's going to be hard. There's going to be hard days. There's going to be hard weeks. There's going to be hard semesters. The bar exam is hard. But enjoy the work that you're putting in, and it'll make the work seem a lot easier.